So Mark, congratulations on being appointed chair of Ronald McDonald House Charity.
Thank you. Very exciting, if
Fantastic.
slightly nervous.
Oh, you'll be fantastic. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Ronald McDonald House Charity and what it does?
Yeah, for those that don't know, we are. I'm the chair for Ronald McDonald House in Birmingham, but we've actually got 13 houses across the country supporting families who have children staying at the local children's hospitals. So we were up to 12 until recently, but we've now got all the Hay House, so we're at 13. And yeah, so we have families who have children staying at the nearby hospitals, and we provide accommodation, support, proximity to their kids, so that they don't have to worry about the costs of hotels, travel. We can provide kitchen, washing facilities, and there's a whole support team as well here to look after and chat and update the families as they go along.
Fantastic. It really is such an incredible charity. I've met so many people who have such a passion about supporting the charity from their own experiences and knowing the difference it can make having that support during such a traumatic time in a parent's life. But tell me about the role of chair. How does that work? What's that all about?
So I've been doing it for a couple of months now. So I was very fortunate to be on the board for a couple of years. I joined just before all of the exciting COVID. So I was on the board just kind of advocating for the charity. So I got involved in some of the activities. I did the House to House charity event that we did a couple of years ago, virtually running and walking quite some distance. I'm doing that again at the moment, which is why I'm always tired. So the chair role is it's an advocacy role. It's about telling people in the West Midlands about what we do, and trying to gain support for RMHC as much as we possibly can. So, as I mentioned earlier, we've got one in Birmingham, but the money that we raise supports all of the houses. And at the moment, we have over 500 families that are staying in our houses across each night across the country. And even though we support all those families, we've still got a waiting list. So it's trying to make sure that we can continue to grow and gain funds for that. And keep supporting those families as much as we possibly can. And as you've touched on, it's the absolute worst possible time when you've got a child at hospital. Some of the children's hospitals across the country, very specialist. So we will have families staying here for weeks who have travelled hundreds of miles, and the last thing that they want to be thinking about is the £100 that they might be spending a night in hotel rooms, whether they get their food, cooking, cleaning, all that sort of stuff. So it's just promoting that as much as we possibly can. So I do that as a chair, and we also have a board of team members across Birmingham, lots of leaders who help us as much as possible.
Fantastic. And how did you get into the role? How did you first find out about Ronald McDonald House Charities?
So I had a very interesting conversation with the former chair, who I'm sure you know, Doug Wright, who did this for 6 years, and was instrumental in raising a phenomenal amount of money for RMHC and the Birmingham House and the houses across the country. And Doug is a huge part of the Greater Birmingham Chamber of Commerce, and he did a Future Faces event for us. So Paul, the previous CEO for the Chamber, he did kind of an interview with Doug, and it was 2 or 3 weeks before I was going to be the new Future Faces president, and Paul introduced me to Doug, and we just had a chat about what I was doing as president, what I was going to do as president with Future Faces, and then from kind of about a year or 18 months after that, we went out for a drink and had a chat, and he was aware of kind of other extracurricular activities that I was getting involved in with a couple of other charities that do really good work around Birmingham, and he asked me to join the board. And then 6-9 months ago, he had a chat with me about being the chair, and I took a couple of days to think about it and whether I had the time and whether I thought I was the right person to do it. But I am, and I'm really excited. A little bit nervous. It's a big, important, valuable charity that does really good work for the city, and not just Birmingham. Like I said, we deal with families who travel great distances to come and stay here. So yeah, excited, nervous, but enjoying it so far.
So outside of this, obviously you're very committed to Ronald McDonald House Charity. You've already touched on Future Faces. What's your day job?
So I am a interface manager working on HS2. So I do technical interface management. So obviously on a big project like HS2, there's lots of kind of stakeholder engagement, community engagement, landowners, people that live near the track. Whereas what I do is much more sort of technical stakeholders who own other assets across the route. So national highways who own the motorways, Network Rail who maintain the railway lines, the Environment Agency, lead local flood authority. So I work with them for anything that HS2 kind of goes over or under their stuff, and we make sure that they're happy with the designs. There's a whole kind of process of consenting and all that sort of stuff. And that's what I do.
So thinking about other young professionals who might be watching this, might be thinking, well, how do I get involved in more of this type of activity? How do I find out about getting involved in charities, and particularly around that sort of leadership and non-executive director side? What advice would you have for them?
Firstly, I would join Future Faces as the Young Professional Network, which is a shameless plug, but I mean it's genuinely true. When I was Future Faces president a couple of years ago, we were at 500 plus members. We are incredibly fortunate in Birmingham to have some fantastic charities doing some really important work, and they are acutely aware of the talented young professionals. So not just RMHC, but we've had members at FF from St Basil's and St Mary's Hospice, all doing important work. So we've got charities that are members of Future Faces, and you can get involved in the low level stuff that they do, say, fun Sunday activities, or pushing your workplace to choose RMHC as your charity for the year, or do a cake sale for us, and every single penny, every single pound of that helps to support families. It costs us about £25 to have a family stay at one of the houses per night. So if you do a bake sale and it raises a couple of £100, that supports a family here for a couple of nights. And then you will start to engage with perhaps some of the more senior kind of chair or board members, and something that I'm really passionate about for RMHC for the next couple of years is to engage young professionals. Particularly in Birmingham, we've got lots of very talented young professionals. They're enthusiastic, they're probably very socially conscious around what's happening, and I think they're a fantastic kind of voice for charities that are doing important work around supporting families, homelessness, all that sort of stuff that's happening in the city. So I would say just kind of get involved, do what you can, and then those roles will probably start to organically appear as people learn your name and realise that you're doing all that sort of good stuff.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for the shameless plug for Future Faces. We're also very proud of the Future Faces Chamber of Commerce. But more importantly, congratulations again on your new role. We're very excited seeing all that you and Ronald McDonald House Charity continue to accomplish and drive forward over the coming years.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you as always to the Chamber for the support that we receive from you guys. I've always been a big advocate for what the Chamber do, not just for charities that do important work, but all the businesses across Birmingham. The challenges that the region has faced over the last couple of years, not just COVID, but kind of political instability and all that sort of stuff. And the Chamber have always been there to support people as much as possible. So thank you.